here. Welcome to the Beasley film breakdown on All Access Lakers. We're here on Playback, this really cool platform that we've been on the last few months. We're going to go through Malik Beasley, the new sharpshooter that the Lakers got. And it's really cool to have one of these guys. It feels like we played a whole season without one. And I was trying to find, comparisons to him that's been on the team. And the only guy that I can really think of is like Ben McLemore or Matt Ryan early in the year, but that was a spot player. Ben McLemore kind of fits this, but McLemore just didn't have the basketball kind of IQ and stuff like that can really makes a shooter what he is. And I wanted to start here with Beasley. I want to start with his volume and kind of look like why and how he gets to those kind of shots. So if you look here at this, I hope you guys can see it. If you can see it, tell me something in the chat. But there's a box here with basketball reference. So these are like these are the per 36 stats. You see it? Okay, cool. So Malik Beasley he's tied actually leading the league with Klay Thompson, Damian Lillard. These are other like super gunners, right? And this isn't like total threes attempted. This is per 36. So when you're on the floor, how many threes do you get up at one time? And Beasley gets him up with the best of them. You see the other guys on this list. Buddy Hield obviously was a guy we were rumored for, another same type of archetype in that way. Malik Beasley at the top of this list. Klay Thompson, who's also shooting almost 12 threes a game. Dame obviously is a gunner. Isaiah Joe was a really sneaky good three-point shooter in OKC, kind of firing away. But we have one of those dudes. Like, we have one of those guys that also fires up this way. And I think it's really cool to kind of put in perspective what it means to kind of have one of these dudes and why, like, when you look at just three-point percentage, it doesn't really tell you the whole story kind of what these guys do. And so, I'm going to just play the video and kind of pause and stuff like that. But yeah, Isaiah Joe's efficiency is really good. Like, he's an insanely good shooter. But even Malik Beasley to shoot, at that kind of percentage, at what he does right now, like for the season, he's at like 32%. But I think that just doesn't tell you the story. And we're going to go through the clips here kind of and show kind of how he's guarded and why that's like really important for what the Lakers want to do moving forward. But I want to start with his volume. So we're going to switch over here and kind of play this. So if you watch him, like when he brings the ball up here, and this first possession here kind of shows you to me his volume and what it looks like. So on this first play, Jordan Poole has his head turned. This isn't even like a double or a trap. This is really just to close the gap, right? So D'Lo's running a little ball screen with Vanderbilt. But Poole's job is really just to close this gap, to make that gap just a little bit tougher. And watch here, right when Poole turns his head, this is already Beasley. Look at Beasley already in like a full stance to shoot. And again, this kind of tells you to me, this is a guy that just gets shots up. And this is why his volume is the way it is. And Gurman, yeah, Malik's gravity, yeah, my favorite thing about him too. But I think like that gravity comes because of the volume that he shoots at. And if you see here, Jordan Poole's head turned, and Beasley already in position to absolutely just fire. And you see him, he fires this one up. These aren't like great shots, but again, this keeps the defense honest, right? It keeps the integrity of your offense when you have guys who shoot at this volume. So here again, this is really cool. And again, shows kind of why teams guard him this way. But this is DiVincenzo kind of guarding him up and already in ball denial here. And, our other guards just weren't defended this way. So DiVincenzo is top blocking here, right? So he's top blocking so that he can chase over this ball screen at the correct time. Our other guards, so if this is Dennis Schroeder, if this is Patrick Beverley, DiVincenzo's not going to top block because he doesn't care. He can go right under these ball screens. But since it's Malik Beasley here, then he has to actually top block him to get him to the other side. And again, that's because, and Beasley's percentage is 32% from three, right? So it's not a great percentage. But again, you look at just the volume, and teams have to respect the volume. And, there's a saying in the NBA where like, your reputation kind of precedes you sometimes. So like, even if the reputation isn't even correct anymore, defenses still guard you that way. And I'm not saying Malik is at this point It's just like a lot of players kind of get to this point where Malik's just a fire. So even his percentages kind of go out the door. And you look at the opposite with the guy we just traded, right? So we just traded Russell Westbrook. It doesn't matter if Russ hits 3 straight threes, teams aren't guarding him this way, right? Like they are not going to top block. And what this does actually, so let me go back and let's play this. So you have DiVincenzo who chases over here. So he gets caught on one of these screens. You see here Vanderbilt actually catches him. And now this forces actually Draymond to now come out. So again, this was just a simple side screen here, and you've already created a switch. So you have Draymond who comes out and switches on Beasley. And I think this is really cool. Again, shows just his volume of shot making. So this is, again, another simple step up screen here from Vanderbilt. Now watch here, right when he notices that Draymond is backing up. So right when he backs up, Beasley is ready to pull. And this isn't like a great shot, right, for most players. But again, this is just high volume. It's how you get up to 11.6 threes per 36. And obviously Beasley doesn't play that much, so those numbers kind of get extended. But that's how you get there. Those type of threes. And on this next play, I want to kind of show the payoff of that. Well, this is another one. So again, one more just full volume shot here. This is just a full curl into 2 double ball screens. Again, just not a good shot, but it just shows you how he gets his volume up. And we just haven't had a shooter who shoots like this. KCP was like gets compared as like our shooter, right? But KCP just didn't have the volume of threes like this, and he doesn't shoot this easily coming off screens. He's shooting like a blistering 50% or something this year, but KCP just doesn't shoot that way. Beasley is just a type of shooter I don't think we've had in a very long time. Again, the only guy I go back to is Ben McLemore, but McLemore again didn't have this type of fire. So again, he comes off this curl right when he notices that DiVincenzo is going under. This is a pull. And it's probably not a good shot. You could see the contest is actually really good here, but that doesn't matter. It's just about the volume for Beasley. He's going to fire these. If your defense is late, if it's not correct, going under on a Beasley screen is the incorrect defense. It's just the incorrect defensive coverage. So once you do that, he's firing. And again, the contest is good. It's just kind of show off the volume here. And then this allows Wenyen to kind of come in and get the offensive rebound. You had Draymond step up because DiVincenzo was a little behind on the screen going under, and Wenyen's able to get a basket off that. Kobe assist, yeah. But yeah, like so showed you all that volume there, and I think that's really important context going into like what he does for the Lakers offense. I think it's really cool having a guy like this that defenses know in their head this dude's going to shoot, he's going to fire. And it's why like I think our offenses look so, even when we were shooting a good percentage, our offenses still look so murky because you had Dennis Schroeder, Pat Beverly, Russell Westbrook, as our guys kind of coming off these screens, and defenses just don't respect them. They don't run out to them. There's not a like oh shit factor, right? Like the oh shit factor matters in NBA offenses. And you'll see teams around the league, like even with their stars, they're like set first play is for the shooter on the floor, right? So if you watch like Dallas play, for example, their first set is actually for like Tim Hardaway Jr., right? It's not set for Luka. It's for a shooter coming off a screen because that spins the wheel of the defense. That makes your defense have to interact, and it has to play the right way. So we'll let me play this more, and I want to kind of show the impact of what that volume does now. So on the next play, this is actually one of my favorite possessions. And again, this is their first game together, honestly. Obviously, Vando and Beasley have had minutes together. They've come from Minnesota and Utah. But I just love this, like what this does for your offense. So this is a second unit. This is Lonnie Walker in the corner here, who is a threat. So you have Vando and Wenyen setting a stagger screen for Austin Reeves here, right? So Austin was basically our backup point guard here. I actually like him in that role. I think he has a lot more backup point guard skills. Evan Moore says if a shooter doesn't shoot in volume, they're simply 100%. I agree. Volume is very important for shooting. People always look at percentages, and volume is very key. But on this play, So you have Austin running a double drag here with Winion and Vanderbilt, and you have Beasley in one corner and Lonnie Walker in another. So pretty good space. And what this does, it allows Austin kind of maneuver this screen the way he wants. So let's play this. So Austin comes off the screen. You have Vanderbilt coming rolls here. Now you have a little bit of an action with Wenyan and Austin. Draymond, obviously one of the best, or whoever's defending there, one of the best. Oh, that's JaMychal Green. He comes back. Usually this play would be dead. Like if this is our team like 2 weeks ago, this play is likely dead. But I love how, again, if you have a shooter in the corner, it's very easy. This flows right into just a little side screen here, and now you have Beasley running in action. And Beasley's enough of a threat. He's not a super ball handler, but again, his threat as a shooter, you just saw all those shots he took. So now when he comes off these screens, he's a threat, right? So here comes Kuminga. He comes out on it. I'm going to play a little bit more. So now you have Beasley running it, again, a ball screen with Vanderbilt. And what teams want to do, so they want to make sure that this shot cannot go up. So Clay steps up here. And now you have a 4-on-3. And this is all just created by Malik Beasley being a shooter. There's no other offense here. The original offensive set died already, the double drag. So now it's just Beasley running an offense in the corner with Vanderbilt as a screener. And now you have 4-on-3 the other way. So they trap here in the ball screen, a little bit miscommunication, and you have a 4-on-3 with Vanderbilt. And that's all just created because of what Malik Beasley does as a shooter with his volume. With his volume of threes and what he can do just as a shooter, open this whole play up. This is dead 2 weeks ago. And Austin Reeves double drag with Winion and whoever you want to put there, whether that's Thomas Bryant. If he doesn't get something out of that, that's maybe goes to Lonnie Walker for an isolation. Maybe that goes somewhere else. But since Beasley is such a threat as a shooter, he creates this. Now it's an easy 4-on-3, and Vanderbilt has enough. Did a interview with Vanderbilt's trainer, which is up on our YouTube, by the way, that you guys should check out. Really good information, but gives a nice 4-on-3 here, and Vanderbilt, now that he has a 4-on-3 situation, easily makes the pass to Winion, and he's able to get the dunk. But again, all that is just created by Malik Beasley in the corner, and that play is dead if that's not a shooter there. And I think it just really helps out to have a guy there. And again, another action here just shows off Beasley's threat. Comes off on again, DiVincenzo has to fight over the top here. And this, again, Malik Beasley has enough kind of shot creation to shoot in the mid-range. He's not like a great mid-range shooter. You saw his volume of threes, so he doesn't take a lot of shots, but he can attack off a closeout, which I think that's all you kind of need from a guy like that. And he works really well on not just closeout, but he can kind of play make out of it too. I have some plays later on, but look at DiVincenzo in full chase mode here. He's in full chase mode. And the big has to come out as well. You have the big kind of chasing. DiVincenzo not in a good defensive position. Look at his feet here. And Malik Beasley easily attacks the top foot to get a pull-up. And this is all because of his volume. Malik Beasley is a 32% three-point shooter. And you'd absolutely never know that by the way teams defend him. And that's all because of volume. And volume is so, so important as a shooter. It's why I remember when we got Dennis Schroeder and he was shooting like 39% from three in Oklahoma City, I was like, teams aren't going to guard him, or Russell Westbrook shooting 36% from three. Now, Russ's volume sometimes works negatively, right? Because his reputation actually says that you want Russ to create volume. But anyway, it's not about Russ. But Malik Beasley's volume is all what creates this. You have DiVincenzo out of position chasing. Beasley easily attacks his top foot. You don't really want Malik Beasley all the time attacking, off of ball screens or shooting mid-range pull-ups. But again, this is just a part of his game, probably has been ran at like this a million times. And it's good to, have a shooter where they're like, that's what they're paid. That's why they're in the league, right? Like they're paid to be shooters. All the other stuff, like, yes, there's other stuff they can do, but they're paid to be shooters. And shooters like this is kind of in their, wheelhouse. A little bit of an attack here, little mid-range pull-up. Not a great shot, not a high percentage, but, shot clock at 7. And that's just a really great kind of addition that he's added to this offense. And again, no LeBron, no Anthony Davis on the floor here, and you're creating good looks by just having a shooter run off ball screens. And Darvin Ham got a lot of pushback for his offense, and I just remember those like few games with Matt Ryan where we were running exit screens, which I'll have a little bit later in here, and we were running stuff like that, and we just didn't replace that shooter. Like I remember we cut Matt Ryan, not that that was the wrong move, but we didn't replace him with another movement shooter, right? Lonnie Walker can do it sometimes, but he's not a curler. He's more like an off the dribble step back shooter. You need at least one to me in modern offense, a guy who can kind of curl and fire like this, and it's really great to finally have one. All right, let's keep going here. What else? How's Beasley as a screener? Yeah, so he's not doesn't screen too much. He has done a nice job. So, and again, later on later on we'll redacted, yeah. Later on we'll have is like we've been running the Spain action, which is really nice. He doesn't get enough contact really on it, but he's such a great threat that he doesn't need to. So like his screening isn't great, but it's enough of a threat to where we're using it, and I'll kind of go into that a little bit later. Let's keep going and see here what this next play is. So again, look where Kaminga. This is Jonathan Kaminga. Look where he picks up Malik Beasley at here. He picks it up almost like closer to half court. Again, I think I added some pauses here, but yeah, so he picks him up here at half court, and this allows Malik Beasley to get right past him, and he misses the layup here, but allows Vanderbilt to come up. But again, Jonathan Kaminga is not coming up on a player that's not a non-shooter, right? Like there's no reason for that. And Beasley I think has hit a few threes at this point in the game, but again, that's all just volume, and he hits enough obviously to be respectable. But it's just him be able to get to the basket and stuff like that. It just all opens up the Lakers offense in ways that we just haven't had before. I know it's only been 3 games. I've kind of went back and watched some other Malik Beasley stuff. He has some deficiencies defensively and stuff. That's not what this watch is about. But watching him get defended this way is just a breath of fresh air, honestly, to watch um, people defend our guards this way. Here again, look where Jordan Poole is in ball denial here, closer to the 3-point line. He's out of position now as he was ball denying over this. That's probably a really bad defensive move also from Jordan Poole. But again, like you're not doing that to a non-shooter too, right? You're not ball denying out too closer over the 3-point line. Malik Beasley's able to attack and finish. And he's bigger and stronger than I think people realize, actually. I think he's like 6'4" or something like that. So he can finish. He just takes such an inordinate amount of shots from outside the paint. That's where he lives. That's where his bread and butter is. But he can finish. But these are all just to show you kind of his gravity of what it does when you have the volume that he does and make them at a respectable percentage, what that does for your offense. These are, he's getting defended behind the 3-point line on some of these plays. Here again, this isn't like too much on him, but this is just a side ball screen with, Wenyen and Lonnie Walker here. And usually this is DiVincenzo's tag right here, but just making like guys think at least a little bit, right? Like before, the thought process was very easy. It's like, what's the choice? Am I tagging on Wenyen, or am I leaving Patrick Beverly, who is shooting like 20% from 3, right? Like what my choice is very easy. You want to at least make defenders think. He does more than that, obviously, but I like that. That's your goal, is to kind of make at least defenders think about it, and he does that pretty well. So this is usually DiVincenzo's tag here, but obviously he decides not to. Usually you have your weak side guy tag. This is just an easy pass and a dunk for Vanderbilt. DiVincenzo decides not to because he's guarding Malik Beasley. Here you go again, next possession up. Trying to remember what exact. Oh, this is the Spain action here, and so I guess we can forward to. It's been about 20 minutes. Darvin Ham has really started to open his playbook, which has been really fun. This is a really nice action that's run around the league. We just haven't had like another guard who can like run this. We've had LeBron run this sometimes with AD, but like you want the guy running this play to be able to shoot off the dribble. And this isn't obviously not about D'Angelo Russell, but I think D'Lo and Beasley is just it's such a like stark contrast from what we were starting. Like it feels like we're watching a different sport almost. You can't run this action with Dennis and Pat Bev and AD. You just can't. Like, this is not an action you can run, which is why I always like said preach patience kind of with Darvin. But so this is a Spain action here. So basically what it is here, you have two guys coming up to set this screen. It's pretty much screen the screener, right? So AD setting the screen on D'Lo's man DiVincenzo. It's Beasley's job to then screen AD's man. So you'll see teams, it's a copycat lead. So a lot of teams run this action. Lakers just haven't had the personnel to kind of run this. They tried it a little bit with Lonnie Walker as like the ball handler here. But you could tell Russ and Beasley and are very comfortable in this action. This is something they run a lot in Minnesota with Karl Anthony Towns. You can feel AD in it. Again, this is the first game, by the way, of them playing. I have tape from the Pelicans game as well that's coming. But this is their first game together, and you watch here. And someone asked me about the screening before. You see here, Beasley doesn't like get too much contact on this pick, but it's enough, right? Like, so he actually, I don't think he gets any contact here. Doesn't he slips this anyway? But again, Beasley's such a threat that you have to come out on this, right? So Clay has to close out with a legit closeout. You can't close out short to Malik Beasley. That's not something that happens. So he has to close out. And again, Beasley got no contact on that, on that back screen, but he's still able to kind of drive here. I think I have it paused on the Clay closeout, but and Beasley is able to get to the rim here, and I think he actually, I have a hard time kind of deciding. You guys can tell me. I think he was going for a lob to AD here. I don't think Beasley misses this bad because see on the next one he makes this exact same play, but I believe this is a lob to AD, and they'll fix those kinks out later. Got too used to playing with Gobert maybe. But yeah, this was actually a lob to AD, so it goes out of bounds. But this is good offense. You get a guy running at a shooter. He attacks the closeout. You have AD in somewhat of like a you have AD in somewhat position down there. If the miss comes, it was just an air ball because it was a lob that didn't connect. But again, just really fun offensive stuff that we can start entering. We can start entering into our offense as we keep going. And this is just one more Spain action. Again, you'll see it ran a little bit more with the success rate. Here again, here comes Beasley coming to set this ball screen. Exact same Spain action here, exact same setup. You have Russell running the ball screen. You have Beasley coming up to set the screen on the screener. Again, he slips out to the open space. This time, CJ McCollum is ball, and D'Lo does a good job of reading these type of things. But this is a ball denial here, and Beasley knows that, like, okay, if he's ball denying me here, I have a lane. Those two have some chemistry there. I just put the ball denial graphic right there. But that's CJ McCollum and ball denial here. So Russ and Beasley, nice chemistry there. That's what happens when players play together for a little while. But he cuts back door. Again, all off this Spain action. You don't even have great shooting in the corners. I believe that's Troy Brown and Vanderbilt. But Beasley, again, the gravity that takes, and he gets a nice floater in the lane when you overplay him at the top. All right, let's keep going here. So again, this is Beasley coming off a little screen here, little ball screen on the side. So what I love is the Beasley AD kind of two-man game, what they can do, right? So I think this was just to show kind of, you have the Pelicans defender here. I believe this is the guy who's in the dunk contest. I forgot blank on his name, but chasing over the top on the ball screen. You see where Valanciunas is trapping here. Again, all just off volume, all off his gravity. There's no special offense run here. It's just AD and Beasley in a side ball screen. And look where now you have to tag here with so Brandon Ingram comes to tag AD. You have to pick up D'Lo, and there's LeBron at the top of the key, and Vanderbilt just sneaks in for a layup on the side here. Again, all just off his volume. Look at Valanciunas and I'm blanking on the Pelicans player's name, but they're trapping on this side here. And that guy has enough size to kind of take him, but you just don't want to give up an open three. And that's the kind of gravity I think that the Lakers just haven't had anything to work with in the past few years. And Vanderbilt gets an easy layup off of it. So here's again, I just love this AD and Beasley pairing here. well, number one, just pairing a guard where you have to go over the top on, like it's just a beautiful sight to see. I've seen the last 2 years have been filled with guards that you can just go under on the screen on, and it's a breath of fresh air to watch. Teams have to go over the top. Do you think Beasley was forcing some shots in the first game? I mean, Beasley's going to force shots. That's his game. His game is to put them up, and like as long as they're in rhythm and it feels like he's taking them within kind of what his game is. I have no issue with that. He doesn't seem like the type like that's gonna fire if he's like 0 for 12 and take contested threes. I think he's gonna take his shots. They're gonna go in, go out, but I think the volume makes up for it in terms of how he's defended. It's nice to have someone to open up the offense. Yeah, it's really nice. We haven't. I'm reading the chat by the way. Yeah, it's really nice. I haven't really had someone like that at all. So it's been fun. Trey Murphy. Oh, Trey Murphy. Thank you. Yes, that's the guy he was in the dunk contest as well. All right, let's keep. Let's play this out. But so again, this is another just side ball screen here. They chase over the top on his screen. They call this an empty side screen, right? They call this an empty side action because all the on the strong side it's just those two players, and then everyone else is on the other side. Nothing fancy here. You have to go over the top on him. Valanciunas has to pick him up. You have to respect Beasley coming off this ball screen as a shooter, and that gives him enough time to throw a lob to AD. And look at Valanciunas. You have to respect this as a shooter. You can't allow this shot. So this lets AD catch a lob. Nice to see AD catching lobs again, by the way, as well. But it's just those type of threats just really, really help. Here again, this is just like showing his help as a screener. You have AD and Russell now running a ball screen. This is actually Trey Murphy's kind of tag. That's his responsibility, really. But again, he's guarding Malik Beasley. Doesn't come into it. You have AD who gets to cut down. This is Trey Murphy's actually responsibility. I believe that's Trey Murphy. That's his kind of actual tag role. But since Beasley's relocating, that's something else that Beasley does really well. He relocates a lot. So if he's standing on the wing and his man drives, he drifts to the open spot, right? So it's called baseline drive, baseline drift, which is really in the corner. But Beasley is really good at relocating. And again, when you take 12 threes a game, you have to find a way to get 12 threes a game, right? That's not 12 threes. He doesn't shoot 12 threes a game, but per 36. And to get those type of shots up, you have to be able to relocate and find open looks. But again, that just missed like 2 seconds of indecisiveness allows AD to kind of sneak backdoor, and he gets a lob dunk. And these are stuff that just opens up by having shooting. And it's not just Malik Beasley, actually. It's also like having D'Lo as well operating in it. So this is just a really threat that we haven't had in a long time. Type of his gravity. So yeah, I agree. His gravity is really valuable compared to Westbrook. I think D'Lo has a calming effect. Yeah, D'Lo's a more patient kind of point guard, and he's just a more skilled guard, right? So it's such a different feel to him. Great thing about that side pick and roll is if Vando just stands there, that play doesn't work. Yeah, Vando is another guy also. That's why I love kind of the pairing of those two. That dude is always moving as well. He always cuts behind the defense. Derek as well. And then Beasley and D'Lo and Vando all have this like chemistry that they've brought from Minnesota too. And yeah, those are all again. These are just from his volume of shooting. It just really works out. Here again, I just love this. I'm not sure the last time I've seen a guard, again, just to geek out on Malik Beasley here, just the last time I've had a guard that can fire this exact shot with contact, right? Again, KCP, not this type of shooter. He's a guy that will like catch. He'll usually get the pass from Braun here and come off the screen, but a guy who can dribble handoff into a three, like that is a really tough shot here. Oh, is this not this play? Maybe I have it wrong. Okay, this is the AD lob. Sorry about that. But yeah, so this is AD getting the ammo. I think that's coming in a few plays. Let me back up here. So I think this is AD and Malik Beasley running ball screens here. Look how much Trey Murphy is attached to him, just absolutely attached, not letting him go. That flows into LeBron coming off. Trey Murphy is not leaving Malik Beasley. He's still with him, gives LeBron a little bit of separation here, and AD gets the N1. I was so ready for that Malik Beasley play. This is another, I believe, just AD and LeBron ball screen, but I love this. This is a Vando. I don't remember the last time that we like ran. So I don't remember the last time we ran two actions in the exact same play. Like I really don't remember that. So here we have an AD and LeBron ball screen, and we have Beasley coming off a Vando. Like we have Beasley coming off a little Vando pin screen here on the bottom. Like I pointed this play out because I don't remember the last time I've seen two plays like at the same time where both are threats, right? Like where you have to respect both. Sometimes we set a pin screen on the corner, but the corner man here, not to keep using these names, but usually like Patrick Beverly, Dennis Schroeder, Russell Westbrook, and no one cares if those dudes are in the corners. Beasley coming off a little brush here, and you have LeBron and AD running a ball screen. Now you have Brandon Ingram in the middle of the frame here having to make a decision, right? So Brandon Ingram has to decide, okay, am I helping on this? Am I coming out on Beasley? Like what do I do here? And again, just making like defenders like at least think, right? Like at least have to think about what they want to do. So Brandon Ingram, a little bit of a shade here, sees Beasley coming off, but now sees LeBron come off here. I believe AD falls on this play, and then now CJ McCollum also got caught into it, right? And you have D'Angelo Russell coming up to shoot this three. But I love here, look at Malik Beasley in relocation. So he comes off here. He could have stopped right here. He could have faded to the corner, but he continues to come up. And this again just forces the defender to come up in case D'Lo wasn't ready or something like that. I love having a real shooter just in our offense, and D'Angelo obviously knocks us down, but uh, just there's so much stuff you can do. And we ran two actions at the same time with that. And the guy who got the ball actually wasn't involved in either. Right. And I think that's like really cool. And it just feels like we're entering modern basketball. I'm not saying this team's going to contend or anything. That it's just we're now in like modern actual basketball, and this is how it's supposed to work. And I think that's really awesome to see two actions ran at the same time, both are threats, and the guy who scored wasn't involved in either of them. It's really cool to watch. All right, let's keep this going. Keep it in the chat. Everyone tried to tell Russ had little value, required two picks. Instead, we got three started. Yeah, it was a really good trade, I believe. We were one dimensional with these new spreads. The way the guard is, they have to make adjustments. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like Darvin Ham has a lot of choices. I don't think Rui's in a lot of these clips, but I think his ability to attack in isolations, like I think he has a lot of stuff to play with like 23 games. And on top of that, it's spacing at the end from the guards. Both guys can finish at the rim. Yeah, between Russ and KP, the works. Right. Yeah, I think these guards can kind of finish at the rim. They don't go to the rim like as much. Like D'Lo I think, doesn't really like drive to score at the rim. He's more of like a mid-range operator, which is fine. LeBron and AD, I think, take up a lot of the like inside scoring enough to where like you can have guards who do the other things. The problem, again, along with the other multitude of issues, was Russell Westbrook was an inside scorer, kind of cosplaying as a guy who's taking jump shots because AD and LeBron, right, are operating inside. So I think that's the thing that like having skill guards really adds to. All right, let's keep going here. I want to get to my favorite play. But yeah, D'Lo hits this three, and again, all off of just running really nice actions. So I love this is out of a timeout, and this is again, I think Darvin just going into his playbook here. Out of a timeout, they run this set. It looks like nothing's going on, right? Going on. You see Malik Beasley kind of just wandering around, right? And this is a little handoff. Looks like nothing's going on, but look at this. This is an exit screen. We ran these for Matt Ryan like 50 times when he was playing, and then when he got cut, we stopped running this. But this is just an awesome action here. You have AD LeBron little handoff. You have to at least give that some defensive attention. Now look, Malik Beasley comes off this little exit screen. And as a shooter, he fades perfectly into this shot. LeBron obviously is going to hit this on the money every single time. Malik Beasley is a hop into it, 3-point shooter. He actually gets fouled on this. Actually, I believe they called the foul on the AD screen, and I don't remember if they counted this or not. But let's go back one more time in case you missed it. Bear with me, still working the kinks on the YouTube here. Okay, so again, I'll let it run a little bit, but again, AD and LeBron, little dribble handoff, misdirection, and flows beautifully into this little exit screen. And I don't know what the other guard, like Lonnie Walker, maybe you could have run this for, but again, he's not this type of like shooter He's not a guy where that's exactly what he does, right? This is like a shooter archetype that you run this for. Maybe Cole Swider in a couple years, who knows? But this is an exit screen action that a lot of teams use. You'll see the Clippers use this for Paul George a ton because it's a really good way to get a shooter, a good look where they can kind of curl out from the paint when the defense is unexpecting it. But this is just a really cool action that Darvin Ham has kind of instituted in lately. All right, let's keep going. So this is just I believe Malik Beasley as a trailer. AD bringing the ball up, which I'm advocating more. Honestly, I would love for him to bring it up, but he brings it up, guards it up, and again just into the volume. Malik Beasley very comfortable pulling up from three in transition. Again, just a wrinkle to our offense that we've had, a pull up 3-point shooter like in transition where you're comfortable with, and I think we have two now. I think D'Lo hits a big one in this game as well to kind of seal it, but just having two guards that you're comfortable just pulling up, pull up jumpers in transition. I think it's PUJIT, pull up jumpers in transition. Guards, you're comfortable doing that. It's really cool to see. Here again, you have a AD Russell ball screen. And I believe this one is just to show kind of the threat that Malik Beasley has. But again, Russell AD ball screen. And so now you have LeBron in the corner here. And this is so Beasley's guy usually would tag here. So a lot of times when the Lakers would run this type of action, there was no way in hell LeBron is getting a ball cut, right? Because the man that's guarding Beasley right there, I wish I could highlight it, would already be in this corner here. And Valanciunas is super high up, and the reason for that is because of D'Angelo Russell, right? So if this isn't D'Lo, then Valanciunas can be back, right? So Valanciunas can be back up into this paint area. But since this is D'Angelo Russell, and you have to at least respect the jumper coming out of it, and D'Lo again very intentional in the way he sets this up, right? Very intentional in the way he sets this up. You get CJ McCollum leaning a little bit. He's able to drive by him. Valanciunas has to be up to respect D'Angelo Russell. You have Trey Murphy, I believe, is on Malik Beasley, so you can't just cheat off of it. And now you have LeBron cutting from the corner because his guy is the last line of defense. And I don't remember the last time LeBron caught a lob on a baseline cut. It's been a while. If it's been this year, I do not remember. But again, gets his baseline cut, all because you have to respect pull-up jump shooters, and that's such a key like part of the equation in modern offense. Like if you don't have respectable pull-up jump shooters, you're gonna have a tough time winning. So that I'll just play it in its entirety again to kind of see it, but this is again just D'Lo AD ball screen at the top. The fact that you have to guard D'Angelo Russell, the fact that Malik Beasley on the strong side corner is a threat, and this is Vanderbilt in the corner. Like this isn't some crazy threat either. His ability to back cut here at least makes Brandon Ingram think about it, but that's not his help position, right? That's not usually your help side. You don't really help off strong side corners, and so that gets LeBron an easy lob dunk here. This again just shows the threat of having a bunch of shooters on the floor. You get AD trapped, you get a repost. A lot of a lot of times what the Lakers dealt with. So on this post entry here, they double off one pass away. But now the difference is that this one pass away is a threat. You have to help over. Other times they would just leave this guy and just allow the cut to happen. This is a double one pass away. And you have AD here looking over the screen. I think he's gotten better passing out double teams. That's still probably his weakest trait, just as a player, is being obviously besides from the jump shooting being so up and down. But I believe like his biggest like deficiency is passing out double team. But again, when you have shooting around, it makes it a little bit easier to make the decision, right? So this is a nice little kick over to Beasley to Troy Brown in the corner. But these are all guys that are threats. I think I missed the most important part of this video. So look at Brandon Ingram here. So Brandon Ingram's guarding Troy Brown, but he sees this pass going to Malik Beasley. So he's in a full sprint, right? Does not care. He's going to go and make sure Malik Beasley doesn't get an open three here. Full sprint on, thinks he's going to get this steal. Gives AD enough time to remaneuver the pass over the Brown, and it's an easy layup for Vanderbilt, who again continues to move and cut. All just importance of having volume shooters out there. Again, this is running Malik Beasley off another double drag on the left side. Comes off this screen. Again, you have to chase over on this one. So you see this man kind of chasing over. You have Vanderbilt. Not Vanderbilt. You have Jose Alvarado already in help side, ready to help one pass away. You have Dennis Schroeder, who's on the other side of the pass. And now that Alvarado came and stepped up because his man was a little behind on the screen, since his man was behind, Alvarado comes to help, and it allows Dennis Schroeder to get the attack one on one. And these are just impacts of having just a really good shooter on the floor. It has such a domino effect on everyone else on the floor. Here again, Beasley coming off a joke, and this again, this is a bad shot most likely, but I want a guy that can take this. This is this is an air ball, bad shot, whatever. But a guy who can take that shot is so important. Having a guy who can come off a little screen and fire right away. And this is really good defense, actually. I don't know, can't tell who's chasing, but this is really good. Uh, screen navigation and chasing over the top blocking. This is like pretty fundamental. He does a great job blocking this shot. But I don't care. This is a shooting play that you need to win games in the modern NBA. Again, here we go. My favorite play of the whole this whole sequence. Why I put it at the end. I just don't know any other player you could run this for where I would feel comfortable him making this shot. So this is just a little. First, you get a little brush screen from Vanderbilt, and then watch AD set the screen. And this is actually it should be an and one, but just the ability to fire here doesn't even catch this really clean. One dribble, able to rise up. And I think the thing about Beasley, which is so great, his shot is so repeatable, like it's so repeatable, and his form just stays the same no matter where he is, no matter where he's curling from. He's able to square up to the basket and fire, and it's just really like awesome to watch him shoot. And this again, probably should be an and one. I believe he got fouled, but switches this, and I just don't know when we've had a player do that. So yeah, that's all the plays kind of I had rolled up. It's been about 42 minutes. I think Malik Beasley just an excellent kind of entrance to our. Malik Beasley is just an excellent entrance into our offense. Huge it's a huge kind of jolt to what we run, and I think you're going to see a lot of stuff that I think people have really soured on Darvin Ham's offense. I just think when you're running stuff and his lineups aren't very productive either, but I think you're going to start seeing like his offensive creativity open up by just having one shooter on the floor. One shooter on the floor opens up so much for what an offense can do, and I think we have another guy in D'Angelo Russell who's not this type of shooter as well. He's not the he can shoot off curls, but he's not the type. That's not his game, right? He's more of a dribble kind of read the defense and make plays, and that's fine out of your point guard. But have one guy who can fire like this is so key. And if you watch around the league, you'll see teams like their offenses run through their shooters. Like their shooters start the play. So if you watch the Warriors, for example, as well, Steph is obviously their best player, but the offense kind of the first wheel is Klay Thompson, right? Like if you don't guard Klay Thompson, he's firing. Or if you don't chase off the screen correctly, or if your big is in drop coverage, he's firing, right? And I think you see that Portland a little different because Dame kind of runs that for them as well. But go around the league, go with the Mavericks. I said Tim Hardaway Jr. is kind of their initial action that they run, and you can kind of see that throughout. And I think it's cool that I think we got one. So this is if anyone has any questions stuff or like just comments or anything like that, please put them in the chat. Appreciate you guys watching this. This is the first one, so I'm still kind of getting used to the platform and getting used to switching back and forth from YouTube. But I appreciate everyone who tuned in and listened and stuck with me. I hope the audio was okay. Hope the video worked well for you guys. But yeah, this was a Malik Beasley breakdown. Hope to do some more of these going forward. I appreciate it, Evan. Thank you. Yeah, this has been the Malik Beasley breakdown on All Access Lakers, and we will catch you next time. Thanks, everyone.